My wife cheated on me. We're going through the divorce process and live in the same house. She is gaslighting the hell out of me. I feel like staying under the same roof is horrible for my mental health. Need some advice. Original story. As the title suggests, my wife cheated on me multiple times throughout the course of the last few months. I had a sneaking suspicion pretty much immediately when the affair started. However, she was so convincing when I spoke with her. I was never vindictive or overly confrontational when I brought it up, but man, when I did, she'd flip the script on me like I'm some kind of bad guy for trying to discuss our relationship and questioning her integrity. Anyway, I found out she was constantly on her phone, and one night, not proud of this, I did what I had to do and read her text messages. I confronted her the next morning about the affair, and she lied. I confronted her again, this time telling her I have seen her text messages, and she lied again. Finally, I had to literally recite some of the messages I read, and she just fell silent. Her response to all of this was not to apologize, but instead she told me if I didn't push her to that point, she never would have done it. I know I'm an anonymous stranger on the internet, but guys, when I tell you that I've never in my life done anything to my wife that would make her cheat, I'm not kidding. I've never been physical with her, never yelled at her, never really done anything that would make me question my own integrity. Truly, I am not perfect, but I honestly have been a good husband to her. Well, now living with her has been hell. She is telling anyone and everyone we know that I have emotionally abused her. Even after finding out, I've never been mean, yelled, etc. I've told her I'm heartbroken and we're definitely getting a divorce, but honestly, that's where it starts and ends. Every little word that comes out of my mouth, she twists it like I'm some kind of bad guy. She claims I'm gaslighting her, which is crazy because she's gaslighting me. She's always mean and confrontational when I see her, and honestly, I don't really say anything because I just know it'll be taken the wrong way or twisted in a way I didn't intend, and she'll start an argument. What do I do? Why is she being so horrible? Shouldn't I be the one mad at her? Honestly, I just want to coast out of this divorce process and move on. But she is so overly combative, it's making a cordial divorce very, very difficult. At first, her gaslighting was getting to me. I was questioning myself hard, but I've had some time to step back and think rationally, and what she is claiming simply is not true. Someone help a brother out, because I'm struggling. Edit. It's been a day since I posted. I implemented the gray rock method immediately following this post, and it is working. It's driving her crazy, and in return, keeping me grounded. This post has saved my sanity. Thank you all so much. And now for the advice before reading the update. Learn the value of gray rock and the 180 methods. Return her level of energy, but have other coping mechanisms when she's not around. Find ways to release emotional energy not around her. Don't waste any more energy in a conversation with her. Start planning now when you can move. Remove all mutual friends that don't support you from your life. Focus fresh and with healthier people. Just Googled gray rocking and that was super helpful. Thank you. I have definitely inadvertently have been practicing some of these methods in response to this, but this gives me something to be mindful about. I don't think my wife is a full-on psychopath or anything, but understanding how I can disengage from confrontation in someone who is looking for it is helpful. Hey OP, feel free to take a look at my post history. I feel some similarities in my experience versus yours. Ignore her. Do the 180 gray rock. It drives people like your soon-to-be ex nuts. Don't give her any emotional fuel to work off of, and just treat her like a ghost. Get a reputable family law attorney and go from there. Good luck. No one makes another cheat. You do not have to defend yourself. I promise, we all believe you. My cheater moved out right away to live with the new girlfriend, but otherwise the start of my story is somewhat similar, and the gaslighting? Oh, the gaslighting. Still sorting out reality in my head. It's terrible. I'll get there someday, but right now it's awful. I'm sorry. I agree with the others who have posted here regarding minimal contact and gray rocking. It's hard, but imagine a wall surrounding you and protecting your sanity. You will make it. I'm sorry. Hi OP, agree with implementing gray rock and 180 right away. Lawyer up, and if you can get everything recorded so you have proof to show friends and family. Living together is not good for your mental health. Trust me, I know. I'm forced to live with my soon-to-be ex-wife until the divorce is finalized in my end. If I move out, it can be considered abandonment, and that works against me. Not sure where you are, but definitely speak to a lawyer ASAP so you know your rights. So, in the meantime, go no contact. She's a classic narcissist, so any reaction out of you only fuels her. We have a kid, so going no contact is out of the question for me, but I try to minimize contact as much as possible. I don't engage and only will talk if it concerns about our kid or divorce. If you're forced to live with her, get out of the house as much as you can. Find any activity to get out of the house when she's there. Don't tell her where you're going. Just leave as soon as she gets home. Go for a walk, go to the gym, drive around, go to a trusted friend's place. Anything you can do to get out of the house. This has helped me. When back in the house, move to a separate bedroom, get your stuff out, and avoid seeing her as much as possible. I know when my WW is in the kitchen, so I avoid it until she's gone. I suggest you do the same. Hopefully, you have more than one bathroom. You are not angry yet, but you will be. So, aside from finding a lawyer, find a therapist to help you process. Good luck, brother. You're not alone in this. Now for the update. Been 3 weeks since my original post, so I figured I'd post an update. Long story short, my wife had an affair and was really making me feel horrible about myself, turning her friends against me like I'm a monster and genuinely just being a really uncharacteristically awful human being. If you're going through the divorce process or your spouse cheated on you and is making you feel bad about it, I feel like I have some solid stuff to share. My soon-to-be ex-wife and I are well on our way through the divorce process now. I didn't kick the can too much on the divorce, didn't second-guess myself, kept the course, and because of that, I'm almost free. My soon-to-be ex has done and said some extremely crazy, illogical, and hurtful things along the way. At this point, every word she says further seals this divorce and solidifies my decision. I've been told I made her cheat. Ha! I've been told I abused her. Ha! Definitely not. I've been gaslighted on multiple occasions during our settlement that the morally right thing to do is XYZ. Ha! And the list goes on. Sometimes I wonder if she's even living on planet Earth with how she's thinking about things. This divorce has opened my eyes quite a bit, and I'm realizing I was a little bit of a sucker. I love with my whole heart, and because of that, I've allowed her to manipulate my emotions along the way, question myself, etc. I fell into an empathy trap, and what I mean by that is I empathized with her even when the things she thought or said made no sense. I unintentionally fueled completely irrational thoughts. The script has been flipped entirely. She doesn't even know how to interact with me when she can no longer manipulate me. Thank you, all of you wonderful people who recommended Grey Rock, and because of that, the only thing that she can do is get mad, explode, etc. Essentially go into an unprovoked rage. If I snapped one day and called her every name in the book, it would be the equivalent of resuscitating her. It would give her relief, not make her feel worse, which is twisted in every way, but I know it's the truth. Anyway, I haven't given her an inch, not a single inch. I'm not mean, I'm not aggressive, I'm not vindictive, I'm none of those things and never have been. I'm confident, I'm grounded, and I'm thinking rationally and logically, not letting my heart take the wheel, not slipping up or losing my cool, and certainly not letting her manipulate me any further. She's still in her cheater's fog. She still feels justified in her decisions, etc. I have not, and doubt I ever will, receive an apology. Not from her anyhow. Her family has apologized profusely, which is appreciated, but doesn't necessarily cover up the hurt that I've experienced. I will admit, in this moment, the hurt I see in her family far outweighs the hurt I feel for losing my wife. They're good people. It is unfortunate that the apple fell far, far from the tree. In a few short weeks, I'm a free man. Not sure when the fog will be lifted for her, but I do have sympathy for her to capacity. There will be a day she wakes up, a day where reality and real life catches up to her. I don't know if that's a few months, a year, or half a lifetime, but it'll come. There will be a day she is sitting in her apartment home alone, and the burning fling that she had will begin to die out. I empathize with her because the pain that she will feel in that moment will be exactly what I felt. Absolutely crushed. Physically sick to my stomach and an emotional mess. Truly, I was a phenomenal husband. It is now and always has been my personality to be a chipper smiling face for her, jovial, and a rock-solid shoulder to lean on. Reliable, loyal, and loving would be all the understatements, and she will grow to recognize that she hit the lotto on her first go-around and nuked the marriage to pieces with what she'll one day recall as the biggest mistake of her life. A fling, an exciting affair, etc., cannot and never will be a replacement for a lifetime partner who understands and willingly accepts genuine commitment. She will one day learn and understand that. I've put in my time. I've experienced the hurt. I've reflected on myself, our marriage, and what led us to this point. I sought professional counsel to make sure I was giving myself the opportunity to decompress my thoughts and emotions. I've read literature. I've critically analyzed myself and my behavior to try and pinpoint exactly what it was that led her to do what she did. Fact is, nothing I did led her to cheat. Nothing. I wasn't perfect, nobody is, but I loved her. I would work and make sacrifices for her. And the fact of the matter is that wasn't a two-way street. The lies, the manipulation, all the wild things she says she truly may believe, but they're not coming from a place of rationality. She gave up on marriage that I was putting 100% effort into and had an affair on someone that would have gone to the moon and back for her. It destroyed my confidence, not going to lie, but in these moments of absolute emotional agony and adversity, it will make me a better man on the other side. Guys, seriously, if you're unhappy in a marriage, communicate. Do not cheat, and if you do cheat, own it. Look internally. Don't further hurt those people around you and blame them. Hundreds of hours of ruminating, thinking about myself, blaming myself, etc. All could have been prevented by a simple phrase from my soon-to-be ex. Hey, I'm sorry I effed up. I don't know if anyone here needs to hear this, but if you're currently playing the blame game, down on your dauber, feeling like you took a hit to your confidence, etc., stop. Reflecting on yourself is powerful, and I think critique is good to a capacity. But you don't drive someone to an affair. You cannot accept blame for another's individual's character flaw, period. If things are messed up, you've tried counseling, gone down every avenue to correct things, etc., a divorce is the appropriate next step, not a secret affair. I'll leave you with this. My soon-to-be ex looked me directly in my eyes and said with 100% confidence, I'm not the type of person to have an affair. That's not who I am. You led me to do that point. If you've ever heard that phrase before or hear it in the future, package it up in a pretty box, make sure it's nice and sealed, and shove her right where the sun doesn't shine. That doesn't even make sense. I'd love to rob a bank and tell the officers I'm not the type of person to rob a bank, and the government made me do it. But I'm a rational adult, and that's not how it works. Thanks for reading and allowing me to share my thoughts, and thank you all for the advice on my original post. This sub has been monumental in my sanity for the past 3 weeks. Story 2. Wife is planning to leave me, has left me for my best friend, and they've already started trying to get pregnant. Plus update. Original story. I guess I should call him my former best friend at this point, but it's hard to accept it's all gone just like that. You spend so many years with a person building a relationship, and one day it all just turns to dust. I've known him since high school, 15 years ago. He was like a brother to me and like a son to my parents. When we were younger, we were at each other's houses all the time. He was always coming with my family on trips, and I did the same with his family. We've done so much together. He was the best man at my wedding, and I would have been the best man at his wedding. Many trips and nights spent out together. Many times we helped each other. Many conversations about love, life, and ourselves. He was always my go-to person in tight situations, and when I needed advice, it's hard to say how much losing him hurts, because for whatever else he is, he was always there for me when I needed him and a solid source of advice. He was a true friend until he wasn't. It may be as big of a blow to lose him as losing my wife. I've been married to my wife for almost 5 years, but we've been together for 7. I remember when we first met, love at first sight. She was gorgeous and had these really piercing blue eyes and a really infectious laugh. We hit it off, and to my surprise, she accepted when I asked her out, even though I felt like she was out of my league. I fell even more in love with her as we got to know each other. She had such a passion for life and helping people. She was so kind and gentle with everyone, just a really warm person. That made me love her even more. I loved being married to her, and I always felt our marriage was great, not even just good. I was not one of those husbands that let himself go. I took care of myself and ate well. I remembered all of our anniversaries and special dates. When she talked to me, I listened and paid attention. I took an interest in her life genuinely because I loved her, and it was important to me. But I also gave her space and avoided being too needy or clingy. I made sure to do my part around the house. I cleaned as much as she did. Our sex life was great, as far as I could tell. I did my best to love her and care for her the way a husband should, and show her she was appreciated. I tried my best to keep dating her after we married. I can say without any doubt that I never took her for granted. I don't know what else I could have done. I have asked myself that over and over again, and I still don't know. I wonder if I did too much. Did she think I was too much of a pushover? Did she not respect me? I'm not saying our marriage was perfect. We did have arguments, but they were never major ones. The trouble started when my best friend broke up with his girlfriend. He was pretty upset about it and took it hard. I talked to him, but my wife asked me one day if I cared if she went out for coffee with him to talk and give him a woman's view and opinion. I told her that was fine with me. She and my best friend were also friends. We'd done couples trips with my friend and his girlfriend, and she'd also hang out with him tons because he was around me so much. I didn't think anything of it because their relationship never seemed inappropriate. I do remember him saying I was lucky and she was attractive when we started dating and when I married her, but there was no inappropriate jokes or anything like that. My wife might have said he was handsome at some point, but that was it. I saw no red flags, and even after thinking about it more, I still don't see any. I never saw anything which made me think that there was any chance of them being more than just friends. When my wife came back home from coffee, she seemed a bit off. She was really angry with his ex and said that he deserved better. I remember telling her something like, "He's young and he'll mend in time," and she seemed very upset by this. She said that he needed time and that whatever girl ended up with him would be very lucky and his ex was a fool to leave him. I may be misremembering parts of that conversation, but that was the basic gist. She was very sparse on details and very vague, but it didn't seem weird to me at the time. It seemed like she was being protective the same way that I would be protective of him as my friend. Her behavior started getting stranger after that night. She wasn't doing anything really overt or suspicious, but she was vague about what she was doing. She would say that she was going to see one of her friends or to run an errand, stuff like that. I'm not a controlling person, and she'd never given me a reason to doubt her, so I didn't make an issue out of it. And really, at that time, I didn't find it so strange. I noticed my friend was being weird too, but I thought it was just because of his split and him being depressed. I would invite him to hang out and he'd turn me down, which was unusual. He never had a reason other than he was busy. I started seeing less and less of him, and when I did see him, he was different. I would not say nervous, but definitely seemed not to be comfortable. He sent me a message asking me to stop by his house one day. He said we needed to talk about some things, and he had to get some stuff off of his chest. I drove over there not suspecting anything. I knocked on the door and he came to answer. I tried to make some jokes and light conversation, but he completely ignored me. He asked me to go into the living room, and there was my wife sitting on his couch. I don't know if I knew at that moment, but I did feel a sense of dread starting to come over me. She started crying almost as soon as I walked in, and he jumped right in and told me that there was no easy way to say what he was about to say, but he and my wife were in love and wanted to be together. I stood there completely stunned. I felt like I wasn't even alive for a while. When I started to come back to my senses, they both tried to say how sorry they were and that they both loved me and regretted it was happening. They told me that this just happened and they never intended for things to turn out like this. They knew that they were wrong, but it didn't matter because they were in love. They both promised that they had not had sex and it was only an emotional affair. I'm not sure if that is true or not, but I don't know if it really matters. And this is basically where we are right now. Since that day, I've gotten more texts from them apologizing, and one's from my wife asking if I'm okay and telling me she's here for me and still cares for me, but I mostly ignore them. They aren't as frequent anymore either. She decided to move out of her house. I didn't ask her where she was going, but a friend of mine told me that she moved in with my former friend as soon as she left. That was only a few months ago. She stopped by the house a few days ago to pick up some things. I tried to avoid her, but then she asked me if I had a second. She told me that she and my former friend were trying to get pregnant. She wanted to give me a heads up so that we can deal with it as soon as we get through our divorce. She also wanted to tell me personally because she felt like I deserved to know and to hear it from her. It hurts so much to hear how she was already moving on. We wanted to have children together, but she wanted to wait until she turned 30. Now he's going to get to be the father to her children, and I'm going to have to watch her carry his child. I am here looking for any advice you can give me. I don't know how to deal with her getting pregnant. I feel like that's going to be a struggle and a source of pain once it happens. I feel so jealous of him because he is getting the life I wanted with her. I also know that her getting pregnant is really the end. Once that happens, there's no chance we could reconcile. I have considered asking her to try counseling, but I haven't because I doubt she would be interested since she wants him and a life together with him. I also don't know how to process all of this. I don't know how they could both do something like this or how I could not see it. I don't understand why she left when we were happy. I feel like I don't believe in anything anymore. If you can't trust your wife and best friend and a marriage doesn't last with as much effort as I put in, then nothing is real and life is all one big lie. Life just isn't fair sometimes. Edit and update. First of all, I want to thank everyone who commented and everyone who sent me messages of support. The last few days have been the best I've had since my wife left. I feel like I'm at least able to think of what comes next. I really don't know how to thank you all, but just know that the support I've gotten has helped. I don't have much of an update, but I thought that you guys deserve to know about a few things. 1, I decided I am going to message my former friend's ex to see what her version of the breakup is. Nothing may come of it, but I think I have to at least see if I can find out anything else. 2, I had talked to one attorney but haven't really gotten serious about a lawyer. Next week, I will start a serious look for one. My friends and family have given me some recommendations, so I will go through their list. 3, I don't know when I will start, but I'm pretty sure I will enroll in some type of counseling. I don't feel like my mental state right now is very good, and I don't think I have the tools to pull myself out of this. I need help. 4, I am thinking of writing to my wife and ex-friend. A lot of you asked me why I didn't do anything to him when they told me, and that bothered me because I realized I never took the chance to tell them how I feel and how they hurt me. I feel like they need to know even if they don't care. 5, there were a lot of other suggestions about things to do to help deal with the situation. I'm going to make some changes around my house and try and make things more comfortable here until I can move. I will also try to keep myself busy, but in reality, the hard part so far has been nights when I'm alone and it's quiet like now. Now for the full update. I want to thank you guys again for all the messages of support you've sent and all the advice. I never expected internet strangers to care that much about me or my situation, but it's done me a lot of good to be reminded of how kind and good people can be. I tried to respond to most of my messages, but even if I didn't, please know that I read them, and it helped me to know that I had so much support. I also want to apologize to everyone for not updating sooner. I know I have been saying that I would post an update for a few weeks, but every time I thought about it, I just couldn't force myself to do it. But I'm in a good place to write it today. One of the things a lot of people recommended on the original post was for me to contact my ex-friends, just going to say ex-friend EF for Ease, ex-girlfriend, to see if she knew anything about his affair with my wife. I did contact her, but she confirmed EF's story about the reasons for their breakup. I asked if she had noticed anything weird or had any reason to suspect he was involved at all with another woman before they split, and she said that she didn't have any suspicions. I doubt she has any reason to not be honest with me, and she seemed genuinely shocked that they ended up together, so I believe her. In my first post, I added an update about writing my EF and wife a letter for closure. Most of you advised me to not do this. I decided to follow that advice. I wrote it for myself, but I didn't send it. I think you guys were right that it was better to not send it since they wouldn't care anyway. I finally chose an attorney to represent me a few weeks ago. He was someone that was recommended to me, and I felt like I could trust him to protect me and make sure that I came out of the divorce as whole as possible. I officially filed for divorce last week. That was a hard day, but I knew it had to happen. I won't say that there isn't still a part of me that fantasizes about her coming back and saying that she made a mistake and wants to start over, but that's not realistic, and I can't live my life based on a fantasy that will never happen. I think any boost I felt leading up to the filing was taken away by the filing, and I have been feeling more depressed again. I looked into some personal counseling like you guys suggested, but I decided now was not the best time. I recently started a new project at work, and with some of the changes I've made in my life, I've been staying busy, which helps. It will probably sound crazy to say this, but there is also a part of me that doesn't really want to feel better. I feel like this is how I should feel when my marriage is ending. About the alienation of affection suit, I decided not to pursue it. I know that most of you wanted me to do this, but my attorney told me that it wouldn't be easy and he couldn't guarantee anything. I just don't care about the money. Even if I had pursued it and won, it wouldn't have changed anything. And my main desire right now is to be done with this as soon as possible. I have decided to move away and start over once this is done, and I can't do that until my divorce wraps up. The only other interesting update that I have is after my wife got her paper, she contacted me asking me if we could meet and talk. I haven't responded and don't know if I will. I don't feel like I have anything left to say to her, and I don't think she has anything to tell me that I want to hear. As far as what I've been doing, I've been running more. I've done some reading, tried yoga and some meditation. I like the yoga, but the meditation not so much. Work has been much busier, which is good. I thought about learning French, but I probably will put that on hold for now. I have some other projects I started for hobbies. Took fishing up again, just really trying to stay busy so I don't have as much time alone where my mind is idle. As far as what changes I've made around the house, I get rid of some of the trinkets and things that reminded me of my wife. I did end up getting a body pillow for my bed, and as dumb as that seems, it helps me relax more. I'm still staying in the guest room, but I may move back into the master's soon. It doesn't matter much at this point. I still am not sleeping well, and I don't think changing rooms would make a difference. That's about it. I've been reading a lot more about failed relationships, and through some of the sites that were recommended to me. I watched one video on YouTube that has helped me reframe the way that I thought about our relationship. I don't think it's since I don't know that it's okay, but the short version is that the man is giving the talk says that if the person you were with moves on quickly from you, then they weren't really your one. I try now to think about my wife that way. I thought she was my one, but she never really was. If she could do all this. He also made some really good points about memories and accepting when somebody you cared about becomes a memory. That's really all I have to say. Not a really happy or eventful update, but that's how it goes, I guess. That's all for today. Please check us out in the next video. Thank you.